recording live from CourtCast Studio / Wine Cellar.
Asshole.
Hello and welcome to CourtCast.
Dig me down, booty hole. That's how you already know. I'ma quit. My dog will probably rape you till your booty melt. That's just all he know. He don't know nothing else. I try to blow him.
After 2 miserably failed attempts, we got the usual crew back. It's me, Chief. You can call me Noah. We got the VP, Mr. Ben Payonk, and my Chief of Broadcasting, Mr. Charles Scalise.
I'll never be able to get used to you calling yourself Chief. I laugh at it every time.
It's still weird.
Hopefully this makes it to air too.
Yeah. So the reason why I said we have 2 miserably failed attempts is because, over the last month, when we've seen each other, we've tried to do CourtCast before. The first attempt didn't go so well. The recording was very, very distorted, and we had to toss that one out. And then the other one, we went a full hour and realized we weren't recording the whole time.
So we just gave up on that one.
Yeah, but third time's a charm. Hopefully this will be the 4th episode of the CourtCast. We got a good one. It is strictly NFL. I mean, we might dabble into basketball at the end if we have enough time, but most likely going to be all NFL, most Eagles, maybe some playoff situations that'll happen, and we'll get into possible coach firings. And Mr. VP's got a surprise segment at the end that neither me or Chuck know about.
Yeah, we need instant reaction for the CourtCast.
Yeah, it's going to be all genuine. All right, so we'll just get into it. The Eagles are obviously the reigning Super Bowl champions. I'll never get sick of saying that. We only got a few more months of it. But their season has been very disappointing. I would say terrible, but they did just beat the Rams, and they still have a chance to make the playoffs. What's gone wrong with them? I mean, obviously there's been a lot of injuries, but it's been more than that because, we went through a lot of injuries last year, too. Chuck, you're our NFL insider. I kind of want to hear what you have to say on this subject first.
Another nice thing about the CourtCast, I was going to say recently, but this technically is our first one, I guess, since the summer.
Yeah.
Is no longer the attempts at real ball insiders.
Real ball insider. That's no longer going to happen, sadly.
Yeah, Chuck's officially left Real Ball in. I'm sorry. Really on the inside balling.
I have great respect for the company, so
I don't.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
We don't.
Yeah.
I think number 3.
Yeah. So the first thing I think that now this happens to a lot of teams. It's just with the recent Super Bowl champions, it's been the Patriots and the Eagles and the Broncos were the last 3 or last 4. Those 3 teams. Mm-hmm. With the Patriots, you haven't seen this in 15 years, but Super Bowl hangover is definitely a thing. It's just I don't think us as Eagles fans have realized that's a thing until obviously until you win one. Like you see around, you're like, oh, like Super Bowl hangovers, and I think they're just not good. This team has a lot of talent, and that's the first thing. Definitely is Super Bowl hangover. You're gonna get every team's best shot, and that's how you separate. That's why it's so hard to become a dynasty. It's why it's incredible that the Patriots won 5 in the past 15 or 17 years. And if you remember, the first season after Tom Brady won a Super Bowl, they went 9-7 and missed the playoffs.
Yeah,
Eagles likely are gonna miss the playoffs. They're still shot. They get in. Probably won't. I'm not too concerned about that. Doug Peterson's still a good coach. However, another thing, so you have Super Bowl hangover 1 and getting everyone's best shot. The second thing, obviously the injuries. Like you can't lose your entire secondary and expect to be good. It's not gonna happen. Like the what's the word? The game against the Rams was. It's not.
It was something.
It's like that. We're probably gonna get lit up by Deshaun Watson and.
This was a team that let up 29 points to the Cowboys, and they just got shut out by
Indianapolis.
The Colts aren't a good team, especially defensively, and they just got shut out by it.
Yeah, and then the third thing I would just say, I do think Doug Peterson's a really good coach and probably one of the best 10 coaches in the NFL. I think it's safe to say he has been very uncreative in his play calling. I don't know if you remember it was either the first or second drive. On a third down, Darren Sproles took a trap handoff and ran for like 15, 20 yards. I feel like every game I see that called on a third down in the first quarter. Like, there's an obvious trend being set there, and I'm just a guy watching on my couch. I'm not Sean McVay, who memorizes everything.
Memorizes every player in the league.
Yeah. So, Doug Peterson, and, we've averaged, 2 points a game in the first quarter, which is by far the worst in the NFL.
It's terrible.
So,
less than the field.
so he's been, for a majority of the year, not a great play caller, hasn't been very creative. Carson Wentz obviously coming back from injury is hard. Nick Foles didn't look good until this past game. So essentially just chalk it up to it's just an off year, and the NFL overall is just a lot of randomness year in and year out. So.
Yeah, it's not the NBA. Like the NFL, there's a lot of parity in it. That's why we see a lot of different Super Bowl winners year in and year out. Like there's not many teams that can say they've just put on a stretch of just pure dominance like this. Like it was the Cowboys in the 90s. Obviously, it's like the Patriots for the last decade and a half, almost 2 decades now. Steelers in the 70s, but it's like I said, it's just not like the NBA where you can expect the same teams to win.
It's why you put dynasties on a pedestal. It's so hard to do, but you don't really realize it till it's your team that is getting the best shot from the Bucks, who are bad, the Titans, they're not really great. They couldn't make the playoffs. Teams like, the Colts even played us really hard. Probably could have lost that game. The Falcons are bad, and we almost lost them too. So, and obviously the Saints blew us out, which is kind of who we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, just one of those years, I think.
I also think it's all to do with losing coordinators on offense or coach.
Losing Frank Reich was huge.
I only think our current offensive coordinator, maybe it's just because it's first year and he's never done it before, I only think he's that great. He was the old running back. Yeah, was he the old running back coach?
He was the offensive coordinator with the
no, wasn't he?
He was not.
He wasn't?
No, he was a wide receiver coach with the Rams.
Wasn't he our old running back coach, right?
No, Deuce Staley's has been a running back coach for
okay, never mind.
since I can remember.
But that, everything you guys really said, corner, you can't have Devontae Maddox, even though he played well last week.
Well, he's at least earned himself a spot. And
he's a special teams player.
Well, no, I think he'll be a quality, he'll play a lot of snaps next year.
Maybe.
No matter who, because it'll be Jalen Mills, him, Darby, someone we draft, and Sidney Jones, who hasn't been good.
Yeah, and my view might be distorted because I watched him firsthand in college. But everything really you guys said already was my points. There's a really small difference in talent, in my opinion, in the NFL compared to every other sport. So it's kind of hard. Sometimes you just get lucky. Like last year, we kind of got some things just went our way. So our record was better this year. You saw a couple of times, Colts, Panthers came back against us. That goes either way. Some games just go either way. We could very well be 9 or what are we now? 7-7. We could very well be 8-6 or 9-5 if something if 1 or 2 balls just went away. So sometimes you just get an unlucky break. I think Nick Foles starting puts us in a better position to make the playoffs. Hot take.
Well, Wentz is injured, so yeah, I'd say that too.
Oh
God,
I'm
afraid of where this is going.
Hot take. If Nick Foles leads us to the playoffs, I think he will become the best Eagle to ever play.
I mean, he's already got.
As sad as it is to say,
he already has the greatest legacy. I won't say he's the best Eagles player, but he already has the greatest legacy of any person that's ever
on the players.
But he's already.
Sorry, Donovan now.
I mean, Reggie White and Brian Dawkins, guys that are bona fide Hall of Famers.
Yeah. But
Nick Foles is a Super Bowl.
I want to take it almost a step further and say situationally in areas we were really, really, really good at last year, we've been really, really, really bad at this year. Last year, we were really good at converting on 4th down. We were really, really good at converting on 3rd down. And then defensively, we were really good at stopping on 3rd down. We were really good at stopping on 4th down. I just texted you guys. It might have been earlier today or it might have been yesterday, but we were, I think, 3rd in the league in 4th down conversion defensively last year. I don't know if you guys remember the numbers. This year I know we've let up 9.
Now we're 26th or something.
Yeah, we're really bad on 4th down. We've let up 9 4th down conversions out of 14 possible attempts. And like last year, like Carson Wentz was just magical
ridiculous
on third down. Like it was every third down we had, it was just you didn't even have to worry about it. It was right around 45% conversion rate on third down last year. I think we're right around 32% this year, and like that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but like
in the grand scheme,
in the grand scheme of thing, it is. Like it's the difference between being an elite team and an average team.
Yeah.
You know.
And I don't think it's all him. I think he's still coming back from injury. It's kind of tough to come back and play quarterback specifically.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a valuable
and who knows
position.
how long he had his back.
Yeah, and he's out again because of it. So
he was obviously rusty like the first few weeks he came back, but he went on like a 6 or 7 game stretch where he didn't throw an interception.
and he didn't even have a bad season if you look at his numbers.
Statistically, he's been better per game than last year.
Yeah.
So I think it's just him. Like next year, I think you'll see more of comparable to the first year than this year in terms of record wise and statistics for like third down conversions and stuff like that. Once he gets healthy, but I'm assuming we're just gonna sit him the rest of the season, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't play him. Even I mean,
kinda
at this
sucks.
point, even if we got to the playoffs, it'll probably be a lot of because of how well Nick Foles plays, and
We'll be
it'd be really hard
It
would be really hard to force Wentz to get back, even if he's because I don't know if you guys remember, like this kind of happened with RG3 a couple years ago. Rushed him back, and he's now a third-string quarterback on the Ravens. So you don't want to risk the next 10 years.
He's playing behind Lamar Jackson in a Super Bowl MVP. I mean,
True, a Heisman winner, a Super Bowl MVP. It's hard to
And this whole Wentz sitting out, which is good, obviously, but it's kind of a double-edged coin because if Nick Foles gets to the playoffs, it's really gonna screw Wentz mentally. I think.
So I think Wentz is such a good competitor.
I think
if he can come back and have the season that he did, coming back off of an ACL injury, ACL and PCL injury. ACL.
If Nick Foles loses to the playoffs and maybe wins one game, don't you think like if Wentz slips up like ever?
I don't think Foles is here next year.
Oh, I think Foles is here for a while.
Nah, his contract's too big to keep him around. That you can get another offensive weapon, another cornerback, another linebacker with the salary that Wentz has, and they have been very vocal in their support of Nate Sudfeld. So he's probably gonna be they'll probably draft someone in the 6th round, 7th round, throw him in to be their next Sudfeld.
There's a lot of teams with like a revolving door at quarterback too. Like I'd be surprised if Blake Bortles is still in Jacksonville.
Well, because there's also a lot of good key. Like Joe Flacco is going to be a free agent. I would take over Nick Foles. I think.
Jags, you're gonna need.
If I was the Jags, I would take Joe Flacco over Nick Foles.
Actually, you have to factor in
Never mind.
age. I think.
Yeah.
Too. Flacco's like 36.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah, people don't. He's pretty old now at this point. Him and Matt Ryan were drafted in the same class, I think.
Who knows? The Redskins could even want a quarterback next year because.
Who knows if Alex Smith ever plays again?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the doctor said
Joe
it was
Flacco's 33.
33 out. Foles is what, 28?
something like that.
Let me stat check it. Continue.
But yeah, like I don't know, like I mean, even if Alex Smith does come back, there's no guarantee he plays
29.
next year. But I want to say like there was a report that he got an infection in his leg after surgery, and that I mean the doctor said initially it might not be career ending, but an infection could really change all that.
Yeah.
All depends how he comes along, but I'm sure the Broncos might want to explore their options at quarterback too. Case Keenum hasn't really been Case Keenum that he was last year. Cardinals might want to bring in a veteran presence to back up Josh Rosen in case that goes haywire. Same with the Bills and Josh Allen. Like
Bucks maybe too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
Jameis Winston
Bucks
hasn't
are
really done
Bucks are
anything.
new coach. There's gonna be a whole new thing there anyway.
Yeah, that whole situation's weird.
I highly doubt the next coach is gonna get rid of Jameis. Also, another thing to watch with the way that Gruden seems to be running things. Derek Carr might not.
Yeah, I don't think Derek Carr is gonna. He might be there next year, but I don't think he's gonna be there long.
Yeah, I don't know because he just signed a big extension. So like I don't know how it could be structured in a way that it's more advantageous to get rid of him now because you won't have to pay him as much. Or it could be in 2 years.
Plus, they're stocking up so much assets that you have to think that they would pick a QB at some point with one of the first round picks that they've gone.
Yeah, and Gruden's a quote unquote QB guy.
Yeah, he's the QB guru.
He's the QB guru.
He's gonna find his guy and he's gonna do everything that he can to get his guy.
QB.
And I don't necessarily think that guy's in this draft. It's not a very good
this
draft for quarterbacks. I mean, Justin Herbert might be the best one to come out of this draft, but I mean, there's a lot of
Dwayne
which is why I say you have the second pick in the draft to take a quarterback. It's just
but like it's the same situation. Then I don't want to get it too much.
Well, last year they were better QBs.
Last year there might have been
that's what I'm saying.
Last year there might have been better QBs than this year.
Like this
in
year,
the first round. But if you're not gonna fall in love, if you're not in love with Sam Darnold, if you're not in love with Josh Rosen, if you're not really convinced that this guy can be the guy that changes your franchise around, you don't want to waste a second overall pick on this guy and have to be stuck with him for at least 5 years, just waiting for that year where he starts to figure it out. Yep. Look at the Dolphins with Ryan Tannehill. Look at the Jaguars with Blake Bortles.
Ryan Tannehill was like a mid-first round.
He was top 10. He was top 10.
So instead,
look at the 49ers with Christian Ponder. The Vikings. No. The Jaguars again. No, Vikings with Christian Ponder. I'm sorry. Jaguars again with what's his face? Fucking
Browns with everybody.
Browns with everybody.
I mean, you can't
blame Garrett, who I was thinking.
You can't blame general incompetence by a general manager on like saying you shouldn't take this chance when you have this.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't take that chance. But if you're not in love with the guy that you're drafting, you don't want to waste 5 years of a rebuild on a guy you're not convinced on and who never pans out. When there's a guy like Saquon Barkley that could immediately change a team.
I'd rather
right
he doesn't immediately change the team. The Giants are still.
The Giants have won 5 games this year, and I'd say
that hurts them more than it helps them.
Yeah, it might.
I'd rather pick
draft wise, but it just tells you how much better Saquon Barkley makes that team.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think they may be winning 2 games all year if they don't have Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I wrote a thing last year. If this is when the Browns just got Tyrod before they got Carlos Hyde, that they should have taken Saquon 1 and then take a quarterback. I was advocating for Josh Allen. I was a huge Josh Allen guy, or Josh Rosen.
I like Josh Rosen a lot.
And obviously, well, firstly, the Browns did the best thing they could have possibly done anyway. Mm-hmm. Denzel Ward's going to be a great player. Baker's going to be. If he was an All-Pro,
the Browns
I wouldn't have been surprised. So they did it right anyway. But I feel like you have to have the right roster to take a running back in the top 5.
Yeah, you have to have a defense mainly.
See, if you would say the Giants should have maybe traded down and picked who was the guard, Quentin Nelson.
Yeah,
I would have agreed with that. Their line is not very good,
and if they don't love a left tackle in the NFL, who's not that great.
Yeah, and their line's not good. Their quarterback's getting old. Running back for that roster wasn't an absolute necessity. Saquon Barkley is maybe the greatest prospect to come out of the draft in the last at least 10 years or so. So when that guy's there, it's really hard not to take him, especially if you don't love the quarterbacks that are projected to go in that area. So trading down would have been a different thing. Like, I wouldn't have had a problem with them like going to get their offensive lineman and like fill out a roster before they take a running back like that. But
and take Pro Bowler Philip Lindsay in the 3rd round.
Philip Lindsay. Perfect example.
Another rookie Pro Bowl.
Another great rookie running back.
Philip Lindsay is very good. He's had a very good year.
But don't.
I love getting people out of that thing.
You can't throw out Philip Lindsay and Saquon Barkley comparisons because Saquon Barkley is a far superior player to Philip Lindsay. Philip Lindsay's just in a much better situation right now.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I'm just saying that's what I would have done.
If you give Saquon Philip Lindsay's situation, Saquon.
We don't deal with
it's hypothetical, but you know me and Saquon.
Right.
You know me and Saquon.
Yeah. So. Going back to the Eagles thing before we went on that tangent, the one real thing that's bugged me with the team, because like all the reasons I laid out, like shit just happens. Mm-hmm. I think Howie Roseman's off-season 2 today has been really bad. I don't think Foles should be paid as much as he is, and obviously, like, he could be the reason we make the playoffs at this point rather than having some scrub like Josh Johnson playing. So if we make the playoffs, obviously, like, my viewpoint's different.
I think we should be paid him well, just because of the whole Wentz being injured situation.
Yeah.
I think that and Michael Bennett were the only two.
Michael
Bennett played well. Other than that, it really wasn't anything crazy that he did.
Yeah. Never should have traded for Golden Tate.
Yeah. What was the one wide receiver that got injured? Not Toy Smith.
Matt Collins.
Mike Wallace.
Oh,
Mike Wallace would have probably been a good sign. That was kind of just dumb luck that he got injured. So that never really helped us at all.
Jason Peters has been retired for 3 years.
Yeah, Jason Peters should not be in the league.
Yeah. But we keep signing him and bring him back. When you have a guy like Vitae who played really well in the playoffs last year, Eagles didn't give up a sack in the Super Bowl. You have. I don't think they should have brought Sproles back, although he's been a big part of the offense the past couple weeks. I would have much rather had LeGarrette Blount. I think the offense runs better when it's a giant him just going in there. Because when you're facing Blount in the fourth quarter your defense is getting tired. Blount is relatively fresh.
People.
Yeah. So that's those. It's like basically those three things that have kind of been an issue for me. And overall, Howard Rosen hasn't drafted too well. Goddard and Maddox seem like they can play. But
I'm gonna disagree.
Well, yeah, I just meant this year.
I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit. I did like them bringing back Sproles. I think Smallwood should have been the one that got bounced in that rotation. In favor,
I don't like Smallwood anyway.
In favor of LeGarrette Blount.
Well, it's a money thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a money thing. But
not as much Smallwood versus Blount versus Sproles.
Clearly everyone on the world says Blunt's better than Smallwood.
I don't think there was really a need to go into the season with 4 running backs. Obviously, we've had a fuck ton of injuries, but so we needed the 4 running backs. But there was no reason to go into the season rostering Wendell Smallwood when he wasn't even playing by the end of last year anyway. We had Corey Clement, who hasn't had a great year and has been injured. Jay Ajayi and obviously Sproles, who's also injured. But they were all healthy going into the year, so there's no need to roster Wendell Smallwood. But in retrospect, yes, Howie's offseason hasn't been that great. Like, Haloti Ngata, I haven't even heard his name since week 2, maybe. We let Bo Allen walk again. That was just kind of a money thing.
Yeah, Vinny Curry had to go because of money. Like, shit that happened.
Like, Super Bowl teams.
He didn't bring in another defensive back, which would have been nice. But, it's all in retrospect because at the time, Sidney Jones...
At the time, I thought we
got a lot better, especially defensively.
Yeah.
We brought in Sidney Jones is going to be healthy this year. He was supposed to be a stud. He's been okay. He's been banged up, but he hasn't been the top 15 guy that he was supposed to be coming into the year before he. What did he do? Tear his Achilles?
He tore his Achilles, then we drafted him in the second round.
Yeah, but he hasn't really been that guy that he was supposed to be. Jalen Mills had a down year before he got injured. I thought Mike Wallace would have been a great pickup. He was just an improved version of Torrey Smith. He got injured for the year after week 1. I thought drafting Dallas Goedert was great. The one thing I'd criticize him on is not drafting another left tackle. I know Vaitai played really well, but it's still a position that we needed depth in.
Yeah.
I liked the Golden Tate trade at the time. Yeah. Obviously now it was the wrong thing. Yeah, in retrospect it was the wrong thing to do because we're probably not going to make the playoffs. He's going to be a free agent. But in retrospect, we had 2 games against the Cowboys coming up. We had a game against the Giants and 2 games against the Redskins at the time.
And a game against the Saints. So when Cowboys-Saints, we had a huge stretch of games.
Right, and at the time, receiver was a really big thing we needed because Aguilar wasn't what he was last year. Our second best receiver was Jordan Matthews, who has been playing well this year. I like that, bringing him back in the middle of the year. We were missing Mike Wallace. Matt Collins hasn't played all year. So I really like bringing Golden Tate because he was having a solid year.
Yeah.
He was on pace for his usual 1,000 yards. He just hasn't panned out at all, and I don't know why, because he's a really talented player who has a lot of different skill sets at that position, but they just haven't really worked him in like they could have.
It's on Mike Groh, I think.
Yeah.
Who, when we were saying he was wide receivers, he was also what I was thinking passing game coordinator.
Yes, that's what
for the Rams that were the worst passing team in the NFL. That was the last year, Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
So he's obviously not good at his job, and Tate plays 30% of the snaps, which there was somewhere in the line there's a miscommunication between Peterson, Groh, and Roseman. And you don't make that trade if you're not going to play him at least half the snaps.
Oh, yeah.
Or you spend higher to get an Amari Cooper, or in that case, since he was already traded for, a Demaryius Thomas, who's helping out Houston.
Yes.
Yeah. So, retrospect, the moves didn't really pan out. But, at the time, I thought Howie had been doing all right. But obviously,
nothing's panned out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happens.
The one thing I'll say, though, that has really kind of concerned me all season is Carson Wentz's inability to find anybody
but Zach Ertz.
Yeah. Sure, he'll spread the ball around a little bit, but it's almost like he's looking for Zach Ertz only, and if Zach Ertz isn't there, it's scramble, panic mode, find something that's...
Yeah, and that's the main reason I think Foles. Like I think the team has a different energy around Foles because you see like he hit like Alshon becomes his number one target.
Oh yeah.
Like, and Zach Ertz still gets hit. Like Nelson Aguilar still like, but he utilizes more people in my opinion.
It wasn't like that last year though. I think for Wentz, like he was able to find Aguilar a lot last year. I think he was able to find Alshon a little bit more frequently last year too. I don't know what it is. I know he's really comfortable with Zach Ertz, but
yeah, it's definitely a little.
Oh, sorry. And I think his main two targets, which I think is a problem. Zach Ertz, obviously, and I think Jordan Matthews gets targeted more than because he gets targeted more than Alshon Jeffrey probably does with Carson plays, which is a problem because Alshon's a beast.
Alshon's way better than him.
Alshon's a very underrated number one receiver, and you see how good he is when Foles plays, but not really when Wentz. But at least this year, he was good last year when Wentz was playing. But and then Aguilar doesn't really get hit that much. Golden Tate even got hit a couple key times against the Rams with Foles. Carson Wentz really just after he tried locking into him a bunch of times against the Cowboys, right? When did
Golden Tate? What are you talking about?
He locked in the Golden Tate specifically a couple drives.
He caught a touchdown that game. Yeah.
I think it was a 2-point conversion
against the Redskins. He caught a touchdown.
Okay.
Which one was the 2-point conversion? Was that the Cowboys? Never mind.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's partially like Wentz loves throwing Ertz. It's partially on Wentz, and then it's also partially. I don't think like you guys might forget like week 1 and 2 like Foles didn't look good.
No,
The offense still looked bad from week 1 till this past week with Foles and Wentz. I honestly think it was a LA Rams at home. Oh, we're undefeated. We're great. We're a 13-point favorite. I mean, they probably didn't know, but we're gonna roll this team, and then we come out, and we've always played our best with our back against the wall when we're really doubted.
Yeah.
And this is the first week this year it's been like that.
Yeah.
Hungry dogs run fast.
Yeah. So, and this was like the first game of the playoffs.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah. Because as soon as we lose, like
It's over.
Yeah. There's no way we're getting in.
So like suddenly
we're going fishing in Tampa.
Suddenly, receivers who couldn't get separation, 2 of them beat the Rams 50 yards down the field in the first play, or whenever it was in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, I think it was just a bunch of things just happened to unfold
playing
all
jackpot.
at once for us.
Like, Foles was throwing to wide receivers more open than Wentz has seen all year.
Yeah.
Like you said, the opening drive, was it the opening drive of the third quarter?
It was one,
Foles threw a duck to Alshon Jeffrey, but just got lucky because they were...
And Aguilar was open too,
Yeah.
and they were right next to each other.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here, Jeffrey, you got it.
It was literally like they were playing like jackpot. Backyard when they were
Like,
kids.
that was not a good throw, and if it was a good throw, it would have been a touchdown. Like, he was caught it at like 10.
Oh, that was a pretty good throw.
It was a duck.
It was underthrown.
It was underthrown.
Very underthrown.
I mean, he was getting hit.
Well, he was getting, that too.
That's why I think it was a good hit, because he was getting hit by Aaron.
Foles just always wins in prime time, and it's just crazy that like it's
It's
matter
crazy.
like you
It's
throw him
just
out
such a-
there after like 6 o'clock and he's winning the game. I can't explain it.
It's such a
just-
crazy
I don't know.
storyline that Foles like wins. Like he just wins big games. I don't know.
Yeah,
Big dick.
I don't know. It's the opposite. Like everyone loves Kirk Cousins, but he has not won on Monday night. But Foles just won't lose when it's dark outside. And he left the field against the Saints with the lead. In the playoffs.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
So
I was
that
at
was his
that
only
game.
prime.
I was at that game.
Yeah, that's his only primetime loss that he's ever had in his career.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just unbelievable to me. How,
Foles is an enigma.
Yeah.
I understand it.
And so the next game's at 1, so we might lose. That's if it got flexed to 8:20, dope. That's
Maybe even
simple
25 overtime. Maybe something crazy could happen.
I think going back to what Ben said, like losing quarterbacks. I can't think of his name for some reason, but he was the offensive coordinator for the Vikings before he just got fired.
DeFilippo.
DeFilippo and Carson Wentz, like
Which I was surprised
they
we didn't hire him.
spent so much time.
He got fired.
They weren't even interested in like Wentz and DeFilippo.
I thought we were going to
like
sign him immediately.
like spent every second of every day of practice together.
I think we were going to sign him as. I think we were going to get him as the offensive coordinator for next year, which
Yeah.
I think would be a crazy move.
I thought that would have been the right move, but I don't know. They just didn't want to bring him back. And I think he had a lot to do, not everything, but a lot to do with like Carson Wentz's success last year. And I thought bringing him back would have been nice.
You got to surround the quarterback with quarterback guys. Now he's the only one is really Doug Pearson that's left from the original group he brought in
Yeah.
to teach Wentz,
The
which
original
is
quarterback.
partly why Wentz is probably having a slightly down year. Like he's not around the guys he's used to.
Mhm.
He's missing his two main guys, Filippo and Reich.
Oh, I also want to say we have been not only bad on third down, but third and short.
Mhm.
Like you mentioned it earlier with like the unpredictable play calling of like the play to Sproles, and then we try to use it with Josh Adams. Josh Adams, I saw a tweet the other day. I don't want to give anything too specific, but let's just say he's been really bad at third and short. Like he has not been like for a big
For a
running
big
back
guy, yeah.
too. Like he's not been able to convert on third and short like at all.
Yeah. That was like the one good thing I thought, like how we found Josh Adams, who's a good, like, he's been a pretty good player, so
Yeah,
that was
he's
good.
been good.
That's like the one thing I'll give when I said Howie like can't draft. He did not sign undrafted free agent Josh Adams, who without
coming
him, I
last
don't know
year,
what
too.
our
Running game would be at all.
yeah. J.J. is a bigger loss, I think, than we originally thought. Like I forgot that he was.
I
on
think it was
for a
gonna. I
while.
thought Corey Clement was gonna be pretty good after.
Yeah. Which like it sucks that he couldn't play in his hometown when we played the Jags.
Yeah.
Or his home country, and he won't be here next year. So we'll see what J.J.'s career comes to this
It's
one.
not guaranteed. I mean,
It's pretty much.
He's due for some money, but the thing is he's going to be coming off the ACL tear.
Yeah, so you're right. He could.
We could easily just bring him back for a 1-year flyer worth a couple $1 million, still keep us under the cap or whatever, and then next year he might be off, but
Yeah.
he's not going to be an Eagle for much longer. So.
Nah. Yeah.
I would like to see the Eagles get Bryce Love in the draft, though. I think that could be an interesting direction.
Yeah, we'll
for
see.
our
I
running
mean,
game.
you.
He should, running back should not be our first priority going into this draft, but depending on like who's available at the time we're picking and when he might go, I think Bryce Love could be an interesting fit.
I agree.
So I was watching highlights of the Vikings game earlier because this is the one game that pissed me off
Vikings Dolphins.
the most. No, the Vikings Eagles game from earlier this year.
Oh, okay.
Like I would say there are 3 games that completely changed the course of this season.
Okay.
There's obviously the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just give up 21 points in the fourth quarter like that all too often.
Right.
There's the Titans game where we let up the fourth and
It was like 15 or something.
yeah, it was
a lot.
something ridiculous, and Corey Graham just had a brain fart, and they ended up scoring a touchdown, tying the game, winning it in overtime. And then there was the Vikings game. Now, the Vikings game was, I believe, 23-21. And if you remember, the Vikings scored a touchdown at the end of the first half that could have very well been a field goal if
Yeah.
Michael Bennett didn't get called for a pass interference play.
Roughing the passer, yeah.
Roughing the passer, yeah, roughing the passer. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put up a clip of the play. If you're listening on SoundCloud, sorry.
Sucks to be you.
But the dude literally, I wouldn't say he got pushed into the ground, but he was coming around the corner. He's an edge rusher. He's coming around the corner. He's getting blocked by the tight end. He starts to lose his ground, so he's falling to the ground, and he just basically grabs Kirk Cousins' ankles, right?
Yeah.
And he just kind of holds on and kind of shifts his weight till Kirk Cousins falls over. There was nothing, like...
No ill intent.
Yeah, no ill intent. He wasn't like going for the knees. He wasn't trying to injure Kirk Cousins. It's just how the play kind of flowed, and he got called for a roughing the passer. It was a second down, but it would have been like a third and very, very long. Like it was second and like 8 or something like that. It could have been 3rd and 17. But no, they got a first down and scored 2 or 3 plays later, and they took a 17-3 lead at halftime. We came back. Like, we made it a game.
We only lost by a touchdown, I think, right?
No, it was 23-21.
Oh.
A field goal right there. And I don't want to say one play is going to change the entire outcome of the game because
But
especially once you get down to crunch time, like,
A lot of
Things can
things
change.
a lot of things happen. But it's a very, very, very different game if that pass interference...
If it's like
if that
13-3
roughing-
instead of
Yeah.
17-3 or 10-3.
Entirely different game.
So Eagles road to the playoffs. Basically,
It gets interesting.
what has to happen is Eagles obviously have to win their final 2 games, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is first Houston at Washington, which I think is possible.
Yeah,
I think
so
they could beat Houston at
I
home.
agree.
And Washington, I think we would win. If we beat Houston, we beat Washington, I think, just because they have really nothing to play for. And we would be playing for the playoffs. And if the Cowboys lose both their final games, if we win both those games,
we win the division. Then.
we win the division. Only if they lose their final two,
Yeah.
which is versus Tampa at Giants. I think at Giants is the most likely to happen. They lose.
I think the Giants are going to be.
I think because unless the Cowboys lose to Tampa, but I think the Giants is the most likely thing to happen. I think Tampa is the bigger.
That's a question mark.
The bigger question mark.
I haven't really been following what the Bucs been doing the last few
I only
weeks.
followed it when it was
I
Fitzmagic earlier.
feel like Jameis Winston's been playing all right though. Chuck's got him on his fantasy team, and he's in the championship, so
James
tells you
he's got to be doing something.
I ain't Goff's my starter, but I do play Winston from time to time.
Backups.
Because Jameis Winston, like that offense, like throws for a lot of yards.
Yeah,
I think it's like the second most in the NFL, and Patrick
Fitzmagic,
Mahomes
baby.
is in the NFL.
Fitzmagic.
So
that I will also. That Bucs game was very frustrating too, but I'm not going to chalk it up to like.
that game
that
ended
was-
when Deshaun Jackson
That was
called the first.
that was
pass.
Fitzmagic.
Yeah, that was.
Also
We
that.
ran into the Bucs at a very bad time because Fitzpatrick was Fitzmagic.
Literally, it was Fitzmagic.
Yeah.
that we lost.
They beat the Saints and then the Eagles their first two games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Like
and now they're terrible.
now they're the Bucs again. So.
And to get the 6th seed wild card spot, we need only one Vikings loss and 2 wins, which I think the 2 wins are probable. Vikings play at Detroit.
I don't know. I feel like
Detroit versus Chicago last week, I think versus Chicago they'll win just because Chicago will probably best people.
Yeah, I think so.
So Detroit's the important one.
The
at
big
Detroit.
thing was because like obviously we needed to beat the Rams, but now the Bears need a Rams loss, so like they might play their starters the last week because they can get that first round bye.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know though. Just because they might try to be reserved.
Yeah,
That's what they do.
well, if they do that, this would be really, really arrogant of Matt Nagy to do because if they lose that game against the Vikings, they play the Vikings the next week in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. But
So that would, a division rivalry, you're gonna rest the starters to
yeah, you're right. You changed my mind.
That's the most arrogant thing.
I think versus Chicago is more likely now than at Detroit.
Yeah.
At Detroit, though, I think is still somewhat probable just because they're division rivals and they might try to fuck them up.
Yeah.
Or,
I
sorry, no F words.
I know.
This is a PG.
We're out on
This is a
F words
PG. This is a PG.
the whole
program.
problem with this is we have to go into Houston, and now like I
No,
feel
but
like
they come
Oh,
out.
it's
Yeah,
here,
that's
okay.
why I think it's.
We're favored.
still.
We're favored. Are you sure?
Still-
No, I think we're
I
underdogs.
saw that we were favored somewhere.
I know we play good with the.
I was on Twitter. I didn't check the Bovada, so you might want to check that.
I'm the stat guy. I have to check that.
I know we play well with the
Sure
walls
it
against our
does.
back. I know Nick Foles has had some very prime time moments, but the Texans are a very
Oh,
good
we're
football
2-point
team this
favorites.
year.
I thought we were underdogs.
That's scary.
The Texans
That's a
are
scary favorite.
Yeah.
a very good football team with a very good defense, a very good pass rush, and we're playing with our backup quarterback. Like Nick Foles has had some good primetime moments, but Nick Foles can very easily remind you that he's Nick Foles.
Yeah.
So
Cowboys the Cowboys are 7-point favorite against the Bucks.
Tampa, they're gonna-
Same time, which
They're gonna kick the shit out of Tampa.
yeah,
Like,
the Cowboys
after
are,
last week.
unless they just explode, which would be hilarious.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
oh my god, that would be hilarious.
the Cowboys. They're a good football team. They have a very good defense and a very good running game, and Dak Prescott is good enough.
See, I don't even think he's good enough.
He's
Yeah,
good
I don't
enough.
think he's good enough.
He's good enough to get them to the playoffs this
okay.
year.
Oh,
I thought you meant like
thought
good
you
enough to
Super Bowl.
contend.
No.
I
He's
don't
not.
think
He's not
so.
good enough to win a Super Bowl, but he's good enough to keep the Cowboys in playoff contention year in and year out. I
Which
think
is
last
I
year,
think good because they'll never.
Yeah.
exactly.
And Jason Garrett's literally Dak as a.
So if there's a silver lining to the Eagles not making playoffs, it's the Cowboys are making the playoffs. And
Well,
they're
we
gonna
signed Dak, and if they make the playoffs, Jason Garrett will also get re-signed, and that would be a big win.
So
Yeah, that'd be huge for the NFC East.
yeah, you can
Yes.
pretty much guarantee
Yeah, for
8
the
and 8 or
Giants
9 and
and
7 for the next
Redskins,
5 to
yeah.
6 years.
Oh, yeah, it'd be pretty nice.
And then Vikings are 5.5-point favorites, which
And they're obviously
At
gonna pay
Detroit.
Cooper too. That's
Yeah.
his
Oh,
contract's
yeah.
up.
Cooper
There's no way they wouldn't.
They're
pay
gonna
at
they're
this
gonna have to
point.
pay Dak, Cooper, and Elliott.
and I'm
Elliott's not this year.
Yeah, no, but it's still coming.
yeah,
It's still
yeah.
coming up. They're gonna have to pay him, DeMarcus Lawrence,
and the line.
and
They already paid the line.
what's
I
his
think so.
Van Der Esch, Leighton Van Der Esch.
I mean,
I don't
that's
know if they'll
like,
have-
that. He's a
that's a
rookie,
while.
like,
Oh yeah, he is a rookie. Yeah, but
And plus, Sean Lee probably gets paid a lot, and they'll obviously,
let him go this week.
yeah, it will be an exchange
Okay.
basically, the same contract. That's not.
But still, they got a lot of people to pay, so we'll see where they are in 5 to 6 years. But I don't expect much.
And
As long as Dak-
Houston, if they went out, get a first round bye. So they're gonna come in and they're gonna want to.
They're gonna try
out
to.
of us.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
close because both of us are obviously playing for.
There's
big
big playoff
implications.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be very interested to see Chargers win out, Texans win out, Texans get buys, and then the Chiefs.
That would be so weird to have to
That'd be
see
so
the Chargers Texans get buys.
Yeah,
Weird.
and weird for Big Cat's pinky.
I hope it gets chopped off.
So it would just be the top.
That's why I'm rooting for the Texans. Aside from this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that covers a lot of the playoff scenarios. We can get into possible head coach firings coming up in the offseason.
And who should be where?
Who should be where? Who should not be where?
Who should not be where?
Yeah. There's a lot of hot seats. I mean,
I think the most intriguing. Sorry to already cut you off, but I think the most intriguing has to be Cleveland.
definitely.
I think they re-sign
I feel like Cincinnati's also very intriguing too.
Cincinnati's way more. If Hugh Jackson
right.
gets hired to be Marvin Lewis's replacement,
Oh,
that would be hilarious. It'd be the same team for the next 10 years,
exactly.
It'd be mediocre and lose.
Hugh Jackson's basically Marvin Lewis.
Lewis.
Hugh Jackson was just given a very shitty roster, and Marvin Lewis has been blessed with top receivers every single year.
See, I think Hugh Jackson's just a bad coach. Like Greg Williams has won 4 games as the interim. Hugh Jackson won 3 in 3 years.
I mean, Hugh Jackson won 2 this year.
And won the other 2 years. Like
You're not making your case, pal.
No, I'm not saying that.
they had a
I'm not
playoff
saying-
roster this year. They have a playoff roster.
mm-hmm.
Which you in the offseason were shitting on me for the
I
Browns.
bashed it, yeah.
I don't
was
really
wrong.
think any team with a rookie quarterback has a playoff roster. Obviously, there's a few exceptions with RG3, Cam Newton, and even Cam Newton didn't make the
That they made it with Dak at 12-4 2 years ago.
Okay.
They had a playoff
They're-
roster.
Yeah.
They're 6-7-1 and started out with Hugh
and they
Jackson
started out
as
really
the
bad.
first 6
And
games.
they could have beat the Saints week 2, I think, right? Or week
They
1.
went to
They
overtime.
were a
They were a
kick
kick away
Saints,
from. They were a missed kick away
And-
from beating the Saints.
yeah, and the
missed kick
Steelers.
away from beating the Steelers.
And they tied them.
There's
so.
8 wins. They'd be 8,
Yeah.
6 and
So
8.
Josh-
Okay, I secede.
8,
I
5,
secede.
and 1.
They had a playoff roster.
They have a they have a playoff roster.
Their defense is good. Nick Chubb.
Defense is very good.
Now
That's
that
the,
Nick Chubb's
I think that's the
playing
bigger
tight,
part
it's
is the
really good.
defense is very good.
They have
Yeah, exactly. Hugh Jackson held back Nick Chubb too because he wanted Carlos Hyde, and then they finally shipped Carlos Hyde out of there.
They started. Don't forget, they started the year with Tyrod Taylor and started quarterback.
That too, yeah. Which that's a
That was
completely
a little-
different
that makes sense. That
animal.
makes
It made sense for the Browns.
They cut Josh Gordon.
No, they traded him.
They traded him to New England.
He's the Patriot.
Oh,
No,
okay.
they
No, they
traded
traded
Well,
him.
I knew he's on the Patriots. but-
Which that's
That's-
a different. I think it's a different animal to attack too.
Yeah, but I mean, they still have their number 1 receiver, Jarvis Landry's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Who's their number 2? That dude who
They
got
have a
arrested.
really good
The
quick
dude
dude.
who got arrested for marijuana
Antonio
possession.
Callaway.
Yeah. He got arrested for marijuana possession like 2 days after they traded Josh Gordon for marijuana related stuff. Like, I just
Yeah.
thought that was ironic. But
Browns, baby.
Yeah, but if I'm so
Can't like
teams,
this
if I'm the teams with young quarterbacks, so I'm guessing the Browns, Bills. See, I wouldn't re-sign Greg Williams as a head coach. He's a bad head coach, but I would bring him back to be defense.
I don't know. I
coordinator
think
again.
he might. I don't think
if
he'd want
there-
that job.
Bruce Arians is
Well,
expressed
he-
interest, I don't know.
What as D coordinator? 'Cause I don't think he'll
As a
retire.
coach right now. With the record he's gone as the coach, I think he would want the head coach job.
Yeah, well, he probably would, but I don't
Well, I don't
think
think
it's
he'd
a
come
smart
back as
decision
a
to
DK.
do.
I think if
Then
they
you
can
just
get
have to-
Bruce, I think if they
Which
can,
I think they would. The Browns will re-sign him
Really, I think that'd be really
just
bad.
because of the
Yeah.
record he finished with.
I think if they can get Bruce Arians and Bruce
Because
Arians,
they're trying to win now.
I think if they can
But-
get Bruce Arians out of retirement,
I don't
there's
think they
there's
will,
no point in getting anybody else. Bruce Arians would be perfect there with
I-
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, he would be, and he's expressed so much interest in it.
Yeah.
The 3 that I would, so if I'm the Bills, Browns, and
though.
Jets. So the Jets haven't had an offensive-minded coach since the 90s. They've had all defensive guys.
They had what Rex Ryan,
They've had a lot.
Todd Bowles is a defensive
Rex
guy.
Ryan, Eric Mangini, Todd Bowles.
Mangini, that's right.
They've had others that I'm guessing.
And I don't think Bowles is the only one I don't think gets fired.
Really, I think Bowles is really bad head coach.
How long has he been the coach?
He's been there a couple years now. And
I think
just
3
haven't
years. Like
progressed at all.
it was
I think
right
they might
after.
get
I
rid
think
of
he's
it.
bad for Sam Darnold.
I think he might get
he's
one more year.
He may, but
Bucks coach, I think definitely gets fired.
yeah, he's gone. But what I was gonna say was, you look at. I think the first person that should be on all those guys' lists is Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. Like I don't care what level of football you're at. If you average 50 points per game in the season,
Yeah.
especially like the Big 12 isn't good at defense, but it's still impressive. Like when they put up 30 plus against Bama, I think people will take him very seriously. And obviously his relationship with Baker might help, and having him with Josh Allen or Sam Darnold will do wonders. Also, Eric, I'm gonna butcher this name, Bieniemy, the Chiefs offense coordinator, just take all the guys under Andy Reid. His last two offense coordinators, Doug Peterson and Matt Nagy.
I also think the Bears, I forget his name, but the Bears D coordinator, I think will get a job.
Yeah.
Because with how quickly that turned around with Khalil Mack. Even though, like,
You have to give some credit to
Yeah.
the defensive coordinator,
they're
especially
very
because they have an
aggressive.
offensive head coach. I think he gets a job. Probably like just ran like best offensive coordinator, like best offenses, and the coordinators usually get jobs.
Yeah.
So same.
Except I wouldn't hire Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, well, he probably won't want to get hired because he'll probably take over.
Well, he almost took the Colts job.
Yeah,
And
but
then
I think
back
he
that
came
last
back
second, and Frank
because
Wright.
I think he is going to take over for Bill Belichick. I think it's the reason why that happened, in my opinion.
Could be. Also,
That's
all
why I think
Belichick's disciples suck. With the exception, but like all of the ones who've been so horrid, all get made up for Nick Saban being great. But like he wasn't a good NFL coach, so it's a little different. But yeah, that's the only one who's ever had any
wait, was
success.
Nick Saban was with Bill Belichick?
So yeah, he coached under Belichick in Cleveland.
I'd be really interested.
Oh, and Jim Schwartz won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, but that was a defense coordinator, a little different.
I'd be really interested to see if anybody tries to pursue Urban Meyer. Like I know.
There's no way.
No way.
No way.
That was
There's
stupid.
a 0% chance he loses. That's like taking.
That was
that's
a
like an
ridiculous
NBA
statement.
team saying, "Hey, Coach K, like that's not. He's not good."
It's not even that. He's
Well-
he's tired because of his health.
Yeah. Is it his health?
Oh, I'm sorry. I put Nick Saban in my mind.
Yeah,
Sorry,
no.
Urban Meyer. I still don't think it happens.
I don't think it does either. Like I mean, Urban Meyer retired, so I don't think he's gonna be coming out of retirement. I could see there's being some buzz, like the Browns of all franchises trying to like pursue Urban Meyer, try to talk him out of it. I don't see it happening, but I mean, I feel like Urban Meyer is a good enough coach that he'd have a career in the NFL if he really wanted to. But I don't know. There's the controversy with whatever was going on earlier this year, why he got suspended and everything. I could also maybe see Jim Harbaugh being in some talks.
He could be. We'll see. Well, we'll see what happens with Michigan now. Like, who knows if they get rid of him at Michigan?
I really think his time is limited there. Even
That'd
if
be
it's
cool.
not after this season, maybe next
If
season.
his brother hired him and then like he had the Harbaugh joint.
the Harbaugh.
I also
boys.
think
The Harbaugh boys.
John Harbaugh's time at Baltimore is very limited. He might have come to a mutual agreement to leave Baltimore, just because it's a new era there.
It's been a while. Lamar Jackson's
Like
coming out.
he's a very
But he drafted Lamar,
he drafted.
Well,
and they're about to make the playoffs.
Are
That
they
might
really?
pop.
Yeah, I think they're.
Wow.
Aren't they the sixth team?
That's
They're like on the cusp.
if the season ended today, they'd be in the playoffs.
I think they're the sixth, right? This number 6.
Let me check the conference standings here. They are sixth.
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Which
5.
I think they have a real.
They're they're half a game behind the Steelers, and the Steelers play at New Orleans, and the Ravens have the Ravens go to LA Chargers this week. The Ravens could still win that division, and obviously they could just get a wild card. So if they make playoffs, he buys himself more time. Another Andy Reid guy, John Harbaugh.
Yeah, wasn't he the special teams coordinator in Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of input on who should be where, but as far as who's getting axed, Todd Bowles,
Todd Bowles gone.
Doug Marrone, I'm sure is pretty much good as gone at this point.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
They might give him.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. That's
They might give him another season, but like the players seem to have really quit on him, especially like during the Titans game.
I would already fire Matt Nagy, but Detroit's not going to.
Matt Nagy.
No, stop. Matt Patricia. Sorry.
Okay, I was about to say
They're not going
that's a
to.
crazy. That's a crazy call.
I'm a crazy man.
I didn't think
That's a crazy take.
I I didn't
my
think
Nick Foles
Patricia was a very good hire in the first place. I really don't think defensive-minded head coaches are really good.
Unless you already have a system in place.
Yeah,
with a quarterback.
defensive-minded head coaches don't really work out all that often.
It's a new era, new age.
Yeah, especially like with the high-powered offenses that we're seeing, the new rules that really limit defensive players and the physicality of the game. It's an offensive-based game now. It's not the 70s.
Yeah, I think the best way to build a team, get an offensive-minded head coach, and just get one of those old school defensive, just great dudes.
I think it's
you
what
got
the Eagles
Jim
did.
Schwartz's, Greg Williams.
I think it's
throw them over there and go rile them
I think
up
the main way to
and-
build a football team is kind of how the Eagles did it to get their Super Bowl.
I
Like
agree.
hire a bunch of QB guys on offense, get a young QB, build them
Yeah.
up, and then defense get like a
Let the
older-
defensive coordinator
older guy just
take
do his
control
thing
now.
with his boys.
Yeah. Like the defense is like they're all messed up in the head. Like, they're all gonna go bond, be weird together, and then go have a top 10 defense somehow.
Yeah.
You handle the offense, go put up 25 a game, and you'll have a chance to win a Super Bowl. It's all about you just need your QB, couple pass rushers, couple playmakers on both sides, and you have a chance in today's NFL.
Yeah.
Which I think I said this on my show this past week. I love the Chicago Bears, and I think they'll be in the NFC Championship
I like
game.
the Chicago Bears a lot as well.
And
especially if they get home in
the first, they get a bye.
If they get a bye,
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
I even like them going back to LA and beating the Rams.
I like them going anywhere because I think the defense is so good.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
even
I
the
agree.
Superdome is the only place.
That's the only place.
Maybe,
I agree.
but I think the defense is so good. Matt Nagy's such a crazy guy.
Mhm.
It's kind of like how we were kind of last year that we were just crazy people. We would go for it all the time.
Yeah.
The only difference is that Mitch Trubisky was kind of limits them at this moment because he's kind of young and like
He's
off.
good. I think he's gonna have a very good career.
I agree, but right now he's young and
He's
he's
young,
off.
yeah.
He's
He
kind
just
of a roller coaster.
once he starts making mistakes, they're done.
Yeah.
But if he just plays within himself, does
They
the little
manage.
things,
He has to
they
manage.
they can beat anyone.
Yeah.
They're
I like
they're
the
very
Bears a lot.
2017 Eaglesy, except with a little different quarterback.
Yeah.
And a better defense, in my opinion,
Yeah.
than what we had.
Yeah.
We were mainly just a pass rushing.
I mean, they do have
Type
Trey
team.
Burton, so.
Yeah.
Trey Burton just carries the swag around with him.
Joey Cohen is
ignite
their
teams.
Sproles kind of.
Yeah. And I think Jordan Howard's good, although he hasn't had a good year.
I think
And
Jordan
Allen
Howard. I
Robinson,
think he's a better overrated,
obviously.
but I still think he's good.
Yeah. Allen Robinson's good. Like they have
Tariq Cohen.
Yeah.
I said that.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
They got
Way
a
to
good
listen.
team. I would really, and I love Sean McVay. Like I've said this a lot. If I was choosing you gave me everyone in the NFL, and I had to go pick one coach or player for the next 10 years. One, I'd go Patrick Mahomes, but then secondly, I'd go Sean McVay. I think he's an absolute genius.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think Jared Goff, I said this in our group chat the other night, I think Jared Goff is bad. Sean McVay is just really good.
I wouldn't say Jared Goff's bad, but yes, I see. what you're saying.
Sean McVay has made Jared Goff into the conversation of top 10 quarterbacks, when in reality, he's just a pretty average guy. Sean McVay is just a great offensive mind.
I think it's similar to Matt Ryan when he was with Shanahan. Like he kind of
Kyle
him.
Shanahan
Yeah.
made Matt Ryan better.
and similar
Maybe.
to McVay
He
with
made that
Goff.
offense like really
Yeah.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah, which is what McVay did with the Rams, basically.
Yeah.
First year in.
All right. It covers a lot of our
Oh
coaches.
well,
talk.
who would go coach Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay?
I don't know.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I don't
That's
know
a
if anybody wants
very
the
good
job.
question.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers might just take over. As head coach at this point.
Aaron Rodgers is gonna make
Aaron
it.
Rodgers
Brett
is
Favre. Brett Favre.
Brett, could you
maybe?
imagine? Brett Favre became the coach with Aaron Rodgers as his QB. That would be insane.
That'd
The
be
dude
wild.
from
That's so wild. It could never happen.
I think the dude from Texas Tech would be interesting. Cliff Kingsbury.
I think honestly, the Packers might look into Josh McDaniels. I know you just
They could.
you
I can
just,
see that.
Yeah, you just had your spiel about how you wouldn't hire Josh McDaniels, but I can definitely see the Packers being interested in him.
Which I remember we were getting mad at Josh for saying that he went to USC, like don't draft him thing or whatever. Well, I forget what it was. Like that's me, but with Patriots assistant coach. Like, I don't care. Like you could be like Sean McVay could have coached on
I
the
think it's
Patriots. I'd
USC
be like, you know what?
quarterbacks, right?
No, yeah, it's USC
Don't have
quarterback.
USC, except Sam Darnold's going to be good.
I disagree, but but that's a tough.
Yeah.
Well, you're also a bit jaded.
He's more of a Buddy from Incredibles kind of guy.
Okay, whatever. I don't even know. What happened?
That's why I would, if I'm the Jets, go contact Lincoln Riley, go contact the dude from the Chiefs, go contact Kingsbury, and those three are the big ones. I would even take a flyer on D. Filippo. I still believe in him.
I still think
yeah.
D. Filippo is.
Yeah.
I think, like the Vikings are just.
I think
Kirk Cousins.
There was a
yeah, exactly. Kirk Cousins is just
Kirk Cousins is.
the thing with D. Filippo is him and Zimmer really didn't see eye to eye at all. Like Zimmer has had past difficulties with his coordinators. Like he's had 3 in the past 4 years, despite the Vikings being good almost every one of those years. Yeah. Like he's a very old school minded football coach. Like he likes to ground and pound in a generation that's all like through the air. And DiFilippo is one of the new guys. Like he likes to air it out. Like they've got this new quarterback it's got an arm. Like he's young. They paid him a bunch of money, so of course DiFilippo wants to go out and use him. But Zimmer keeps wanting to like just run the ball with Dalvin Cook, with Latavius Murray. Like it works. But like they just, like I said, they just didn't see eye to eye. There was a bunch of disagreements, and like they weren't doing well, so that's why DiFilippo got the axe before the season ended. But I think he's still a good coach under the right situation, like he was last year.
And he's the opposite of how I would build a team. They got the defensive crazy dude as the head coach, and then they're trying to find the offensive guy. You got to do it the opposite way. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Also, Belichick's a defensive guy, so that may completely.
Well, but there's some diamonds in the rough every now and then.
Yeah. Also, like he's been doing it so long, it's different.
He was back in the.
He was the defensive guy back in the day.
And he's also a genius.
He has his own offensive system now. Like I know McDaniels has a lot to do with it, but he's had multiple.
And he has
he
Tom
just
Brady.
turns that offense
He has Tom Brady helping him with the offense.
Yeah.
Like, because Tom Brady's a genius. Like he's basically a coach on the
Tom
field.
Brady is the smartest.
He's the best coach on the field.
Yeah.
Quarterback coach on the field, basically.
And not to disrespect, going back and disrespecting Patriots coordinators, Bill O'Brien's been mostly terrible, but this is his good year. I'll give him credit.
Yeah, he wasn't even good at Penn State.
Okay, he was good enough at Penn State.
He was good enough,
considering
but
the
like,
situation.
Yeah.
He made Hackenberg look good.
For
and Allen
a
Robinson
year.
did too.
Allen Robinson
and then
was
Bill
good.
O'Brien left with Allen Robinson, but
Yeah.
then he looked like shit.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I'll
I
give you that.
swore. I swore on the podcast. What are you gonna do?
I swore already twice.
Yeah, me too.
This is clearly not a
This
PG
is
podcast like
this
Chuck's
is
Chat.
courtside. We give you the unfiltered, unspoken.
If you want the PG version, go to Chuck's Chat.
That one's on
Seamless
there.
plug.
We actually have what is it? SEC limitations there.
We do, yeah.
So, but yeah, it kind of wraps up most of our NFL talk. And last but not least, we have Ben's.
Okay, so
Ben's
just for a little background for the viewers out there, a couple weeks ago, Chuck got me and the Chief early Christmas presents.
I call them Thanksgiving presents.
Yeah, he said Thanksgiving presents. I'm not going to disclose what they are because, they were Len-Bias jerseys.
Like, why not? It's
Yeah, why not?
brand.
So you two have to close your eyes.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
I decided to get my dude's Christmas presents.
Oh, boy.
I guess
I'm
one's
so excited.
one's a Hanukkah present
Guilty.
to the Chief.
To the Chief.
Don't look yet. I'll tell you guys when to look.
I'm so excited.
I take the price tags off. Sorry, I forgot to do this earlier.
What could it be?
This is gonna turn into a great tradition, I think.
Oh yeah. Okay, so don't open your eyes yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna put each of them in front of you in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Noah, I'm not. Chuck, you're gonna love yours. You're gonna go fucking nuts. Noah, you're either gonna have a bad reaction or a good reaction. Okay, open your eyes.
Fuck yeah!
Let's go!
Hell yeah!
Let's go.
Dude, this is awesome.
Chuck, you
I
can.
love this.
Since you guys obviously can't see, Chuck's got a Notre Dame jersey.
Because Notre Dame is back.
I wanted to wear it when Clemson kicks their ass by 3 touchdowns at least. Like I know a Barkley jersey because he's
I'd have Saquon Barkley's baby. Yeah.
he's a crazy Barkley fan for some reason. He'd take him like one of the draft if he could.
I mean, I go to Penn State and Barkley's like the most exciting thing that's been going on there for the last well, you know.
Oh my God, they never took that off. They never took that off.
Oh no!
Let me see this. Well, this is very courtside-y.
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, they never took the magnet off of Chuck's jersey.
Wow,
so-
Chuck, I'm so sorry.
On brand.
You'll be giving this back on Friday. On Friday or Saturday, and I will have to go back and do this now.
I love it.
I guess that makes my life different. Of course. I didn't even check this. My God, I can't believe that happened. That's fucking hilarious.
All right, well, that's
yeah.
been CourtCast.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for listening to episode 4. Hopefully,
Should this be the if you're watching on YouTube, this be the thumbnail? Us holding up the jerseys like we got drafted.
oh yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube,
I can't
This will be our
believe
thumbnail,
This
so.
is on it. I cannot believe they left the magnetized
That's
ink
amazing.
spewing thing if you break it off.
It's
Do you imagine if it just like if I accidentally touched it and then
just all over the all
Whatever.
over here. Like
that's a
all over-
situation for another day.
Yeah.